This is Brandon Jones with Pact Publishing. In this section, we're going to take a look at creating a simple Kotlin app, project and layout. So we're going to do a bit of hands-on in this section by building a simple app, and we're going to keep working with this app as we work through the different sections of this video course. So in this section, we'll take a look at a project design document, which is this video. Then we'll create a layout. Then we'll add widgets to a layout, so buttons and text fields and things like that. And then we'll consider how to handle a button click. So this section is going to have quite a bit of hands-on. It's probably going to be about a 50-50 split between presentation slides and actual hands-on working. So let's get started. In this video, we're going to take a look at our project design document. We're going to consider the purpose of our project, the features that we want, and also a Scrum board, which will help us manage our project throughout this video course. So first of all, what is the project purpose? It is a plant memorization application. Users can be anyone with an interest in plants. That could be gardeners, hobbyists, nursery owners, botany students, etc. Now, this includes me. I have a degree in horticulture, which is where I have an interest in plants. It was a degree I picked up just for fun after I got a degree in information systems and the like. And part of the course was memorizing plants and where plants work well. In other words, you don't want to put a plant that likes water next to a plant that prefers dry soil. So while I was taking this course, I really enjoyed it. I got to learn a lot about plants. I got to learn a lot about GPS and things like that. But I found that I just have difficulty memorizing plants. Since I took these courses, I've GPSed over 10,000 plants all around the world, and I found that I still have trouble memorizing plants. So this is an ideal app for me, something where I can look at leaves and I can say, oh, okay, this is an oak tree, and this leaf that we see here is indeed an oak leaf. It is an oak tree that I took a picture of down in Melbourne, Australia. So the idea is you see the leaf, maybe you can see the tree itself, and then you can guess and identify what tree this is, or what flower it is, if it happens to be a flower, or a fern, or a succulent plant, anything like that. So, we want to show a random photo. We want to show up to 4 choices to a user and say which plant is this, and then the next choice will get easier or more difficult based on the answer, whether the answer was correct or incorrect. So we start with very easy identification, oak versus maple, for instance. Then we can get maybe a little bit harder. We can get to some plants that aren't as well known, like maybe the pawpaw, perhaps a redbud. And then we can get even more difficult, and we can tell between 2 different types of oaks, so a red oak or a white oak. And we'll do this all based on the user's progress. Okay, a few other features that we can add. Maybe we issue some badges and some awards over time. So something to keep the user interested, kind of like playing a game. I want to get to level 30, I want to get to level 5, and I want to know that I'm now in the top 5% of plant flashcard users. Maybe we allow the user to submit new photos and plants over time. That's one thing I've noticed as I've GPSed plants around the world, is that the plants that I know in Cincinnati, Ohio, are not the same plants that I might see in London, England. They might be similar, maybe some are the same, but I have noticed that there are different plants in the different areas where I go. A good example is a tree called a monkey puzzle. You never see monkey puzzle in Cincinnati, but I see monkey puzzle every time I go to Europe or anywhere else like that. On the flip side, a tree called the southern magnolia, which is native to the southern United States, I have seen that tree almost everywhere I have been. That tree is ubiquitous around the world. Beautiful flower, and I could go on, but nonetheless, that's something that we're going to see. So, another thing we want to consider, the data in the photos already exist. They come from Plant Places, which is a plant interest website where I upload all of my GPS positions and the photos that I've taken as I've been out GPSing plants. So I think it's going to be a fun application. One very important thing when considering writing an application, do not over-feature your app early. Think about what's actually going to be used. I released my own plant GPS app in 2013 with probably 12 screens which to be honest was 11 screens too many. I found that there were only 1 or 2 features that people actually used in the app, and I spent a lot of time writing features that were never used, which to be honest really delayed when I rolled out my app. If I had right-sized the features early, my app probably would have been out in 2012 instead of 2013. So don't over-feature early. Traditionally in software development, we've had a software development triangle that says time, features, and money, pick any two. I have modified this a little bit. I call this Brandon's software development triangle. I've taken money out of the equation because in some ways money and time are interchangeable. What I say is time, quality, and features. Pick any two, but one of the two that you pick has to be quality. And why is that? First of all, we want to be shipping quality software, but secondly, software purchase decisions are all interconnected today. They didn't used to be. Back in the 90s, when I was in college, I worked in an electronics store, sold software, and if I sold software to customer A, and then 2 days later sold the same software to customer B had no knowledge of customer A. Because back in the 90s, when you sold software, it came in a shrink-wrapped package in a disk or a CD or something like that. But today, it doesn't work that way. Today, you get software from an app store, and one of the first things you're going to look at are the ratings on that app store. If your application suffers in quality, you will quickly find out through poor App Store ratings, and that's a position you do not want to be in. So how do we get all the features that we want, and how do we do it in a quality way, and how do we do it in a timely manner? The anecdote that I have for this is the Scrum software development methodology. In Scrum, what we're going to do is we're going to have sprints that are 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or a month. But whatever time we pick, we want to be consistent. 2 weeks is pretty common. 2 weeks is a pretty good cycle. So every 2 weeks, we are going to release a working, functional, quality piece of software that has marginally more features than the last iteration. So we don't want to say, here, 12 features I want to do, let's do them all right now. Instead, we're going to say, here are 12 features that I want. I'm going to pick 1, maybe 2, do a quality job, release that, and then move on and pick 1 or 2 more features and work from there. Over time, we'll get to all of our features, but we'll do it in a quality way. And we're only going to release the features that people want. Maybe we're going to find that we think that users want one feature when indeed they don't. For example, a feature that I built into my own app was the ability to post plants for sale. I've spent a lot of time on it, thinking a lot of people in the nursery trade were going to use it. Nobody used it but me. Had I done the Scrum approach, maybe I would have had a better feel for what people were actually using before I built that application. So with Scrum, we are typically going to have a product backlog. So product backlog, we have essentially that long list of features that we might want to do, but we're not necessarily going to tackle all of them right away. And that's okay. And many times we want to have more features than we have time for, because then we choose what's the most valuable and our time is well spent on those things that are the most valuable. For our application, absolutely going to need a flashcard screen. We're going to need to connect to some kind of data. And then we're going to need to evaluate results. So these are 3 features that I've put pretty high on the list. I've created a sample Scrum board, and the URL for this is scrummy.com/plantflashcards. You can see it here. We'll just zoom up a little bit so you can see the text a little better. So you see create flashcard screen, connect to live data, and create levels based on user progress. I could also add some more things like allow the user to submit photos. Okay, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do it. It just means I'm going to put this on the list and I'm going to decide maybe this is something that I'm going to do. So allow the user to submit photos, maybe create notifications when the user has not used the app or something like that. Why don't we shorten that and just say create notifications? So either user's been dormant for a while, or maybe we've loaded new photos and we want the user to know. But these two aren't as important as the top three. So the top three are the ones that we are going to start with. Now, I won't build the entire Scrum board on this video. I'll do a little bit of it off camera, but I do want to show you how it's going to work. The stories on the left are functional. On the right, we're going to have the different tasks that we're going to work through. For example, create flashcard screen. Well, I need to create a project. That might take 2 hours is typically the minimum that we're going to allocate to anything. So that's pretty fast. But I might say create a project, 2 hours. Okay, create a plant DTO, and we'll also call that 2 hours. We've already done both of these things. Okay, one thing we have not yet done, create a layout that includes an image view and 4 buttons. So an image view to show the plant image, and then 4 buttons to show the 4 different choices on what that image is. Or maybe it's a radio button. Maybe I should be more vague and just say 4 different choices. So create a project. We did that in a previous video. We can verify it because I can see the project. If I simply pull it up here, I see the project with a quick and dirty DTO I made. So we verify that. We move it to done. And you see, we already have a couple of tasks over and done. Each of these stories will have numerous tasks, probably several dozen. So this is just an early demonstration, but this board would likely fill up as we run this as a Scrum project. So, product backlog, that's what we have on the left. Those are features at a high level that anybody can understand. The tasks that we have over here on the right, these are the technical implementation steps that a developer will understand. So on the left, features for anybody. On the right, this is what a developer is going to look at. Very easy to put together. So that is a look at our project plan for our plant flashcard application.